All right, we ready? All right. Well, welcome to the. That was like I'm just tired of this.
No, we're rolling.
Welcome to. No, we're not.
We are.
No,
we're not changing
That's
this
not
now.
going in.
This is the
Not going
beginning
in.
of the podcast.
No way.
Currently.
Hey, it's the After Church podcast.
Oh, this is so much better. Yeah. Now it's smooth. We are professionals.
Are we?
We
I
need
don't know.
it to be professional.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we're in Mission Month. We've started Mission Month.
Now that you say it, I think we say Missions Month.
Missions Month?
Missions Month. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go with missions.
All right.
Because there's multiple.
Hey, welcome to the After Church podcast. It's Missions
This is
Month.
terrible.
It's Missions Month.
Clearly.
I feel like some confetti should have fallen.
You're
It's Missions Month.
basically Joe Rogan.
Emma?
You're that good at this.
That's so dumb.
Oh man.
All right, you say when?
No, we're going.
No, we're not going
This
right
is the
now.
podcast.
This is ridiculous.
Why would we not?
Hey, welcome to the After
Oh
Church
my
podcast.
goodness. All right, stop. If you're listening to this, I hope you skipped the first 60 seconds.
I know, man, for real.
Anyway,
That's banter.
glad to be here.
That's professional banter.
Yep.
Blanter.
Yep.
That's different.
Hey, why don't you tease what we're doing in this episode?
Tease. That's
Yeah.
also another
Give us a
professional
teaser
podcast.
for.
Well, we were doing something
Where we're
different today. So we have kicked off Missions Month.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we're doing is, if you were here at church Sunday,
I was here.
you were here.
I was.
But if you were here at church Sunday, you would have recognized that we're highlighting some of our local mission partners and some global mission partners as well. But in person, our local mission partners, and then on the podcast, we're trying to do the same thing. We're wanting to get a few people in here that serve locally, missions that we support financially, and also encourage people to go and serve. And so that one today is going to be Giving Hands Food Pantry, and that's going to be coming up in just a minute when we hit the break.
Yes.
And we're gonna have
break.
a good conversation with Hosanna Fletcher.
So when you say break, do we have commercials in our podcast now?
We do not, because that would make it professional. Because
That'd
then
be
you're
a
getting
whole
paid to
thing.
do it, I guess. But we're
going to get there.
no. So you used the disco ball Sunday, right?
Yeah.
A massive disco ball,
It was.
even
It was a
like not-
legitimate.
yeah, this is like
Amazon had a lot of options.
And
And
that's
I went with the full size.
because you're gonna hang that in the
24-inch, just whatever it is. It's a good size.
in Thea's
Disco.
like bedroom or something. You're gonna have this
I might just return it to Amazon. I don't know. What do I do with that?
no
disco
longer
ball?
needed.
Maybe
Pack it back
Theo
up?
wants it. When it came to the house, I had it delivered to, and I forgot to change it. It was to Tara, and it came to the house. And like Thea went and got it because it's not that heavy. And she picked it. She was like, "Mom, you got this big," because she can read her mom's name at least. But then I was like, "Oh, I know what that is." And she opened it up, and she was like, "Wow!" It was outside too. And by the way, even outside, a disco ball works. Like you would think in the bright sun, you wouldn't really be able to see, but the sun shines on it, and it was like hitting the trees.
Yeah.
It was nuts. It was really cool.
Well, in a previous life, I was in a rock band.
Yeah.
We'll call it that. It was rock-ish. It
Tell us the name of the band.
It was in the back. It was back because people will then go try
They
to
need to
find
know,
it.
yes.
No. So
Oh,
it was back in the 90s, and it was this alternative rock.
Rock.
'Cause Gen X, rah, a lot of angst and
Rocket.
stuff.
Rock.
And so we had a song called Disco Ball,
Mhm.
and it was like that was the song
Okay.
that when we played out, people wanted to hear this song, right? Kind of a poppy rock alternative song.
It sounds great.
Spin like a disco ball.
Sounds really good.
And so we actually had little disco balls and stuff that were tiny at the time, but
Mhm.
we'd put them on our gear. And I think we might have had one hanging from the, the van that we were traveling in. But yeah, so Sunday I was like, hey, disco ball. Look at
ball.
there. I don't see a disco ball and think of the 70s. I think of the mid 90s, the rock band that I was in. So there you go.
That's funny.
But don't look that up. You don't want to hear that.
Nope.
That's all.
Look it up for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So disco ball, we were using it for a different purpose, but we were just doing the spinning part of it. But you used it in a different way, and it was about reflection. Tell us what you were doing.
Yeah.
What were you doing with that?
As I was working on my message for Sunday last week, at some point, I don't know. I love illustrations. I like to try to visualize things, and I think it helps. I think it helps stick it in our minds and things like that. Anyway, yeah, it was all about God's glory, right? And glory most often in Scripture is represented as brightness, as light, as he describes. Hebrews chapter 1 describes Jesus as the radiance of the glory of God. 2 Corinthians 4:6 that the glory of God shines in the face of Jesus Christ. And anyway, so I'm thinking about that. I'm like that shining and the glory and the light and the radiance, and like, man, and then think about missions, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if there's a way to sort of visualize that or illustrate that. And so anyway, I guess that just came to my mind, the Lord or whatever puts this in my mind of like a disc. And I was like, this is kind of funny. I walk around the office. I'm like, do we have a disco ball anywhere? And everyone's like, no. So I had to go on Amazon.
I love that.
Bought
That's
it.
a question you could legitimately ask at our church.
Oh
though.
yeah, I thought
Hey,
we
staff,
did.
does anybody
I thought
have
we
a
did.
disco
Maybe
ball?
with the kids or whatever. Anyway, we didn't, so I had to buy one. But yeah, so the illustration is just I mean, the disco ball doesn't create its own light, right? But it reflects. It is
Right.
the reflection of the radiance and the glory, right? And so anyway, the point being, and what Sunday was about was, man, we as Christian people must be all about the glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is what we see throughout Scripture, that God is about his own glory and has created the world and created humanity and redeemed humanity for his own glory. Read Ephesians chapter 1. He says that phrase to the praise of his glory 3 different times as he's describing the blessings we've received in Jesus. So that's what it's about. That's what it's for. And so I think missions is a great way to illustrate missions is that disco ball to go, okay, this light is hitting it, the glory of the Lord that we have received in our hearts and by faith in Christ. And so what do? How does missions work? We then reflect that out into the world and spread that out wherever we go. The glory of the Lord goes. And so if you're in the room, you could see this cool, obviously the light is now bouncing around the room and moving. And so I just kind of use that as that's hopefully what missions is. It's us taking the glory of the Lord to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
So to
Well,
speak.
I'll tell you what hit me the most, and I'm not even sure you made this point. But it goes along with the imagery. You had it in the box, right? And when it's in the box, there's no reflection. Or if it is,
I did make that point at the end of it. Yeah.
But then you pulled it out of the box, and that's when you saw the reflection. The point that I'm getting at, though, is sometimes I think as believers, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to share the gospel. I did air quotes like it. I mean, to share, right? Like that
is a real thing.
It's a real thing. Share the gospel.
Yeah.
But we put a lot of pressure, and we feel inadequate to do so. And when it comes to serving others, just like with our hands and feet, like actually going and just serving both Christian and non-Christian, like just serving other people,
Right.
it feels like a lot of pressure for me to do something and whatever, when really you're the disco ball. Like that took a lot of pressure off when I thought, oh,
that's a great point.
we're just radiating the light that's already reflecting the light that's being shown on us.
Yeah.
We don't have to create it. We don't have to fabricate the light.
Yeah.
We're just reflecting it.
Yeah.
And so that felt, I think, just for me, it was a little bit,
That's cool.
a little bit at ease. Like, I don't have to I don't have to make the light.
And I love that, honestly. And that the way that the Lord can speak to any one of us through a message, through Scripture, and you're right, through like that illustration in and of itself, like that wasn't even the point I was making, but that's a great point. That's a great point to think about as missionaries, right, in the world. And I kind of put that in quotes. I think we use the term missionary generally as I'm going to a either foreign country or place where I'm not from, probably to go and share the gospel, which that is a missionary. But I think for us as Christians to see ourselves always as missionaries, no matter where we are. But I think we can put this pressure upon ourselves of like, okay, I'm the one who has to make this happen and go do this work. And if I didn't share the gospel this many times or do whatever, and look, yes, we should be, I think, diligent in our stewardship of the gospel, right? And how we live it and how we share it with other people for sure. But again, the mission is Jesus's mission, right? It's God's mission.
His light.
I think I used this quote last year in Missions Month and I can't remember who said this quote, but that it's not that the church has a mission, it's that God's mission has a church, right? It's his mission. He owns it. And he's created a church of people for himself to come and be part of it and now send us out. His mission is his mission. It is our mission, but it's his, right? It belongs to him. The same way the gospel's his and the glory is his. And so we just go, man, thank you for the light. I want to be this disco ball, so to speak, or one of the little, really, I'm one of these little mirrors.
Right.
And I just get to reflect and shine the light of Jesus. What does he say in Matthew 5? This is Jesus' Sermon on the Mount.
Right.
He says, let your light shine. Now, he does say your light, right? But again, I think that's the light we receive from Jesus. It's his. He is the light. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good deeds. They may see that. And glorify your Father who is in heaven, right? So always it's about him. And so I love that. I think that gives us I think that does take pressure off of us. Just go, man, I don't care if people see me or that I do it the right way all the time, because we know this working at a church. In spite of our best efforts at times, we get it wrong, and the Lord still receives glory through his people who genuinely do love and worship him. And
he doesn't stop shining the light.
He doesn't stop shining the light. Yeah.
Well, let's get into that conversation we had with Hosanna Fletcher with Giving Hands Food Pantry. Hosanna Fletcher, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm thrilled.
She was
not
like, "How do I
thrilled
respond to
be
that?"
here?
Yeah.
Before we even started, before we pushed record, you were sharing how much you just loathe being on a podcast.
I just don't like the video side of things. I don't mind the recording. I really don't like the video side.
No,
of things.
I totally
I'm
get
just
it.
in that camp.
I'm
I'm old school.
I feel you.
You know, as Gen X, I'm like, I'm so glad that social media didn't exist when I was in high school. Yay!
exactly
And so the
right.
fact that now I have to be on
I
this.
certainly feel you on that. Yeah.
Gen X, though.
Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
Gen
Some
X.
people
Yep.
love the videos. Some people, I think most people, Jacob, do most people listen on the podcast or watch the videos? Really?
Most people watch this
Wow.
one.
Why did you have to tell me that?
I would have not thought that. So now you're super nervous.
Right, and I just don't.
No.
Yeah, I just don't like the video.
Well,
Thanks for being here.
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. Sincerely, I
Yeah.
appreciate the invitation.
Well,
to
good.
come talk to you.
We can't wait to hear about the organization. So we're in the middle of Missions Month
Yep.
at Eastridge, or Mission Month, or I don't even know if there's an S or not an S, but it's Mission Month. Missions Month.
Yeah.
And our focus is we're sharing with our congregation all of the global missionaries that we support, but also the local ministries that we support.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wanted to highlight some. We were able to highlight some on Sunday mornings, but we also wanted to highlight some on the podcast. And you are the community engagement coordinator. I had to look at the card. Community engagement coordinator for Giving Hands Food Pantry, or as we have commonly known it forever, as the First United Methodist Food Pantry. So
Right.
let's just start there. Is it the same thing? What is
It
going
is
on
the
here?
same thing. So
Okay.
we went through, this is before my time, but they went through a rebranding
Okay.
about a year and a half ago.
That makes sense. I was like, I
and
don't think
so-
I had heard that name
No,
until recently.
it was
so.
relatively new.
Yeah.
And the idea is to many hands give.
Okay.
So it's the
Right.
Giving Hands Food Pantry.
Got you.
Yeah.
And what's the connection to the Atlanta Community Food Bank?
So we're one of 5 food banks in Newton County that are a partner organization. So the way the Atlanta Community Food Bank works is you have to apply to be a partner organization, which means we get a great deal of support through them because the dollar that we can pay them actually purchases 13 pounds of food. So if you think about when you go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, I want to give something, and we go to the, typically when somebody wants to do a donation, they'll do dry foods or canned goods, right?
Right.
And you think about like, okay, a can, even on the buy one get one sale, you might get 2 cans for $1, right? But because of the way the Atlanta Community Food Bank works with their partner organizations, we can buy 13 pounds of food for $1. Wow. And so when we get the shipment in on Wednesday mornings, it comes in pallets.
Yeah.
Because it takes about $475 to restock the food pantry on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
That's all though? $475?
$475.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So
Because we're working with this,
Right.
I mean that through the Atlanta Community Food Bank. Again, not going to like Kroger or Publix and getting that would not restock the food pantry.
Right. People listening are like, wait a minute, that's like $475. That's
Right,
one.
that's my
12. That's a dozen
budget.
eggs.
yeah. So tell us how that works. So you get pallets from the
So we do. I mean,
the main place.
So the Atlanta Community Food Bank. We also partner with our local grocery stores. So we
Right.
get a lot of produce. We do a produce and everything pickup on Monday mornings. And then we actually partner with a couple of other churches locally and partner and share and those resources.
Oh, okay.
But mostly it's through the Atlanta Community Food Bank and through our grocery store partnerships.
Okay.
Very cool.
So, and then of course we love when organizations do food drives. Whether that's like a high school group that does it, a food drive is a fantastic way to do community service. We had Peppers Heating and Air did one. So on their route, they did one really recently. So shout out. But they did one on their route. So they had their drivers talking to the customers that they were
Okay,
serving,
yeah.
and they would pick up on their route.
Oh, that's cool.
So I thought it was a very ingenious,
Yeah,
very
super cool.
creative way to do it. Or you could like put a box out in your lobby wherever, at a business and do a collection on a month. So I help to coordinate those because we don't want everybody doing it like all in March. And then all of a
Right,
sudden,
Right,
come July,
right.
we don't have anything on the
Yeah.
shelves. But But yeah, it's a good way to get involved in the community and to do that. You know, I mean, do we want to just jump into?
Well,
I'm a stats person
yeah.
by nature,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I can just jump into that if you want me to.
Right. 1 second before you get the stats,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think, I mean, maybe food pantry sounds just like intuitive. Like, oh, I know what that is. It's where food's stored. What is like the mission of Giving Hands? Like, what are y'all trying to do? What are you like? Help us.
So that's a great question. So technically, I'll read off what the mission is. Very officially, to provide healthy foods at no cost
Okay.
to our patrons, to our neighbors, but more specifically to provide a reliable and personal shopping experience.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
our food pantry is actually set up to be like I like to call it. Remember when we were young, you could go to like the corner store. I know, I get it. I looked that direction and then I looked over
Right.
here
Yeah.
to you. When
You
we
don't
were
know how
young,
old I am.
I know you're not in the second part of the centennial, so.
You're correct.
But you go to the corner food or the corner market, and you could buy groceries at the corner market. Like it might not be the full grocery
Sure.
shopping trip that you would have, but you could buy groceries at the corner
Yeah.
market.
Even the Mansfield
Nowadays-
Marketplace. That's what I do. I'll go in
Yeah.
there and grab some ground beef and some buns and get
and good to
hamburgers.
go. So that and that's a great example because that hardly exists anymore. Like now, if you go to the corner market, it's really the service. You're just going there to like buy chips, gas
Like
up,
Convenience store.
and
Right.
maybe play some lottery stuff.
Yeah. Or
I mean,
whatever
that's
those
they
things
put those things in, right? That's
Video
all they
poker.
have, and
Yeah.
you can't hardly buy bread
Yeah.
anymore at these places, right? And so the idea
Yeah.
is to recapture that type of experience.
Mhm.
So our clients, our patrons that are coming in, are actually having a shopping experience.
Mhm.
There are carts. It is set up as a very small convenience
Yeah.
market,
Little
like not a
grocery store.
convenience
Yeah.
store, but a convenience market
Yeah.
where they can make choices.
Mhm.
And the idea of that is dignity.
Mhm.
The idea
Right.
of that is being able to own the situation that you're in, but also have some dignity in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Right.
had a growth group. We went over there and served last year
Yeah.
at the food pantry, and that was exactly what I thought about that. Where people could come in, it just felt
And
like
have choice.
they just they were
Exactly
shopping,
right.
and just like any other place. And I was like, man, that is a great way, I think, to serve your neighbor and give them that sense of
Correct.
very much dignity. I think that's a good word for
Yeah.
it. So,
Correct. I think that's super important.
yeah.
And then the other thing is it's not just canned foods and dried
Mhm.
goods, right? We have meats, we have milk, we have
There's
cheese.
good things.
We have
Like
fresh
produce?
vegetables. Lots
Wow.
of produce.
really good stuff. yeah.
So all of that is available. And so, it is about a shopping experience, a real experience.
It's been a minute since I've served because the last time I was there, the model was we packed these boxes and we'd put the boxes in the.
So
you
we
know,
still have that, and
there's
that's
so- yeah.
definitely grown out of COVID. So
Okay.
you had to pack
That's
up
right.
boxes. So we still do that. And so there's two different ways that that the box still
Mhm.
exists. Thanks to COVID, everything changes,
That's right.
right?
Yeah. Well, we're doing this because of COVID. Probably.
So on Tuesday we do our homebound delivery,
Okay.
and so that's a boxed situation. So there's not really a choice in there. Although if there was like a dietary
Mhm.
issue, we would definitely respect that. But typically it's just a boxed up
Right.
a
Mhm.
boxed up.
Right. The essentials for
Essentials.
several weeks. Yeah.
Every person that comes through the food pantry gets somewhere between 45 and 65 pounds of food.
Wow.
So your experience it gives that
Mhm.
45 to 65. So let's just say average 50, right?
Mhm.
So a box is probably going to be heavier because that's going to
Mhm.
that's going to include a lot more of the canned, though it doesn't include fresh.
Mhm.
But when you come through on your own, obviously that might be lighter. But like
Mhm.
collards don't really weigh very much
Right,
if that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Right.
So anywhere between 45 and 65 pounds of food for a family,
And so
for a household, I should say.
and the areas you serve are specific to Newton, or is it
It's
Newton?
Newton primarily. We also serve Jasper and Butts counties
Okay.
because they really lack those types of food services. Excuse me. They really lack the infrastructure to support food insecurity is everywhere, right? It
Right.
doesn't discriminate. It's
So what does that
everywhere.
mean? Some people are not going to know what that
So
means.
food insecurity is the uncertainty of where your next meal is coming from,
Right.
whether that be a home cooked meal or an out meal,
Mhm.
but not having security, knowing that I'm going to be fed for the next meal, whether that's lunch, dinner,
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
And then
So-
between, sorry, I'm interrupting.
That's
but-
okay. Go.
So the food pantry is located right behind First United Methodist
It is.
Church, which
Yep.
is really like where 36 and Monticello Street meet.
Correct.
So it's an easy drive from
Mhm.
Jasper or
Correct.
Butts County,
Correct.
where between that area, there's a lot of food deserts. Now, you want to
A
explain
lot of
what that
food
might be?
desert.
for
So a
folks?
food desert is where you cannot get what we would refer to as, and that's why it's in our mission statement
Mhm.
about a healthy food. Like you can go to a Dollar General
Mhm.
and you can get food, but it's not going to be a meal and it's not
Right.
going to be what we would consider healthy. Now, I just shouted out Dollar General. They're actually doing a pretty good job.
They're doing better.
There are a
Yeah, I've
lot of
noticed,
Dollar
yeah.
Generals that have repurposed and put in
Some
fresh
things
and
yeah.
milk
Yeah.
and cheese and meats
Yeah.
and frozen food. And so they're doing a great job. So I shouldn't I should not out them. They're doing actually a really good job. But if that's the only place
Mhm.
if we think about how people get to like the corner market, if that's the only place I can walk to, or if that's the only place I
Right.
can bike to, then I'm really limited in what I can access and what I can bring home to my
Right.
family.
Okay.
Right.
So I was interrupting your whole
That's okay.
thing. So the food pantry, the Giving Hands Food Pantry. Want to make sure we get it right over and over again. We said where it is. When does it operate? Like if someone is in a place where they have some food insecurity, when and where would they go?
So we do it by appointment. And that's just for the flow of things, so we don't get overrun. And we want to make sure, again, it's an experience that isn't uncomfortable for anyone.
Right.
So we do it by appointment. And we have the shopping experience is on Wednesday and Thursday afternoons from 2 to 4. The homebound, if you have to have a homebound delivery, that's on Tuesday mornings. And then what you mentioned with the boxes, the other thing that we do is a mobile food pantry, which really is not mobile as in we go somewhere.
Right.
It's mobile as in it's a drive-through.
Right. You stay in your car.
You stay in your car and you are provided a box of food. In this particular case, we do it one Saturday a month. Usually it's the second Saturday. One Saturday a month. And people line up. So if you've ever been on the square or downtown on that Saturday, you will see people lined up from that intersection at Church
Church
and
Street and
Is it Monticello?
Monticello, like almost where where the little V
Yeah,
comes
where the
in,
V
right?
is,
Where
yeah.
that weird light
Yep,
is,
yep.
right? It's kind of
The
like our
weird
5
light.
points, and you're like, what's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
happening?
yeah.
Which way do I go? It's almost down. It's almost to that point. So they start lining up at that location, and they'll go all the way past the First United Methodist Church. If you like, it's a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, they line up to get that. We serve about 250 people a Saturday.
wow.
So 250 cars are cycling through there on a Saturday morning. It's only one Saturday morning, but we see about 250 people. And in that Saturday, we box up. It's produce only, so it's fresh. We box it up, and we end up serving somewhere around 10,000 pounds of food on one Saturday a month. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Over 250 cars that come through, or households that come through there.
Yeah, man,
So,
that's amazing.
It's intense. It's intense.
Yeah.
But
That's
what a wonderful
amazing.
ministry though to the community.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Look, as far as and we are people who follow Jesus, right? And
Right.
so it's one thing to follow Jesus in our intellect, right, and in our hearts and our worship and all those things. It's a whole other thing. And as the Bible teaches us again and again, and the way that we follow Him is to do as He did, and Jesus actually did feed people. And
right.
so that's why I love ministries like this. It's putting hands and feet, right? It's putting hands and feet to what we believe, what we say we believe, our creeds, right? But then we're going, okay, we're actually going to serve our neighbor and love
exactly
people
right.
by giving them something they actually need, which is food, of course. Quick question: how would somebody sign up for it? How would if they wanted to to receive the food? How would
To
they
sign up.
for that?
So we do our sign-ups in person. You can come to the food pantry,
Mhm.
and we can sign you up, or you can do it on your phone. Most of our clients do it on their phone, and it's just a link that they click through and they make an appointment.
Is it through the Methodist.Church link?
So we
or-
do have
or
a website. Yeah, we have a website. Our website is actually currently under construction. We're about to redo it.
Everybody's always under
Yeah, we're
construction.
always
So
under
we're
construction.
actually about to and I can't tell you a time frame, but it's under construction to where it's going to be a lot easier it's a one click through
Cool.
process for our
Yeah.
clients to sign up, particularly first timers where they really need to give us their information. So the way that the food pantry works and the way we can serve more people is that we don't do a qualifying. Like you don't have to bring, a bank statement or, a paycheck or anything that
Okay.
shows what your situation is. We're just going to trust that if you need us, we're here.
Yeah.
Right. And then the second part is that, but we're only going to serve you once a month.
Yeah.
So the way that we serve
Yeah.
more people is that we're serving households once a month.
Okay.
So when you sign up, that's what you're doing. You're saying, yeah, I now once a month could be the 30th of March
Mhm.
and the 2nd of April. We count those as two different months because that way, because if you're in a
Right.
situation that maybe is
Yeah.
only going to last a couple of weeks,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
then there's, we're not, no, you have to wait 4 weeks. No, it's, we just do it once a month in order to be able to serve
Yeah.
as many people as possible.
Honestly, I love that. I mean, it's a little bit on the honor code, right?
It is.
But
It's
you're
100
trusting,
yeah,
you're trusting the Lord. And,
exactly right.
Just going, you know what? We're opening our hands. If you say you
That's
need it, we're gonna
exactly
give it
right.
to you.
And the other thing is that we know that there's other food pantries
Right.
that don't operate in the same way.
Right.
But there's other food pantries, and we're really, we really want if somebody's in need, we're going to send them there too. We're going to be like,
Right.
you don't meet our criteria because you were just here last week.
Yeah.
But we'll give you the resources. We'll send you somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's never turning anyone away. It's just trying to be respectful stewards of the money that we get from anyone who supports us, whether that's an organization, individual, or whatever.
Mhm.
And then the other clients, the other patrons that we're trying to help as well.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
So we will always have a link on our website. So at Eastridge.Church, you'll find a link to Giving Hands Food Pantry, or it might currently be called First United Methodist Food Pantry, but one of the two. There'll always be a link there. But what is the website? Do you know the web address? Is it still will it be the same as it is now?
Oh, yeah. It's not
okay.
going to change. Yeah. So, we are a ministry of the First United Methodist Church
Okay.
of Covington. We started off as that, and we are that. But as such, we're also our own. We're not our own entity. That's not the right. We are overseen by them, but it's not like they contribute more than anybody else.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
When we have
sure.
need, we can go to them because we are a mission of them,
Right. Yeah.
a ministry of them. But we are charged to operate on our own.
Right. And so there's an executive director. I forgot who's
There
the
is
new.
Margaret McDonald
Margaret
is
McDonald.
our executive director, and so she's the person that is on the ground there every day. She's the one that does all of the volunteer coordination. She is the client-facing individual.
Okay.
Mhm.
And quite frankly, she hates podcasts more than I do. So, so she doesn't do this. Like
Right,
this is
yeah.
not, she
Yeah.
does the client-facing.
Yeah.
Her heart is as big as this room. She's amazing.
Mhm.
And so she does everything physically there on the ground to serve. We also have a new admin, and she does everything that Margaret doesn't or can't do yet. So she does everything else.
Sounds like a great admin.
True, as a true admin does, right? She just keeps us moving
That's right.
and keeps us going. And so my charge, and I'm the only other employee on a very, very limited part-time basis. The charge for that was that if you have somebody that's overseeing the actual day-to-day food operation, the actual client serving operation, you don't need to have that same person going out and talking in the community. She, our Margaret is much better served by being at the food pantry today.
Right.
Yeah.
For our homebound deliveries and coordinating with volunteers this morning.
And you're engaging with the
And
community.
here I am engaging with the
That's your job.
community.
That's what
So I've only been part of the organization for about 2 months officially.
Oh, really?
Yeah. About 2 months. well, I guess March. We're getting into our third month. But I've been working with them for quite some time, and I think that's how I got into this position. Is I'm a great cheerleader. I think the work that they do is really amazing. And now I can say the work that we do is really amazing. Well organized. You know, in terms of a nonprofit, it's you know, we do operate, again, we're a mission of the church, but we operate almost as our own. Not quite, still need them.
Sure.
But we operate almost as our own. But I don't know, it's just inspirational. It's amazing to see the work that comes out of there.
Yeah. Well, we love it. And one of our, we had kind of a shift in philosophy many years back when we began our partnership with the food pantry. Was, you know, there's in a church situation and, you know, parishioners and church members they want to do something and they want to help the community and they want to follow what scripture says. And so, you know, there was times where we would try to start a food pantry. We started a clothes closet or these different things that a lot of churches have those ideas and individual members have ideas. But we just found that when there's an organization in town that's doing it well
great,
and has the infrastructure and has some staff that can organize these things, man, we just want to like promote them. We want to help give, you know, our people who give to the church, we give that money to, you know, to Giving Hands and other ministries like yours. And we just found that was so much more fruitful because a lot of times what you guys need are boots on the ground and resources.
That's exactly right.
And they're like, hey, wait a minute. We have a church full of, boots on the ground and resources. Instead of trying to recreate the wheel, we're like, man, let's see if we can partner with local organizations.
Yeah, I'd say about a third of all volunteers come straight from the Methodist Church, and 2/3 of the volunteers are all types of organizations. Some of them are other churches. Some of them are just simply other organizations. We have volunteers coming from Lions and Kiwanis and Rotary, but we also have volunteers coming from Oxford College, GSU, all of our high schools. So all over the place, which is truly ecumenical. It's truly amazing to see so many people doing that work.
So good use of the word ecumenical. First of all, good job.
We might need to help some of our people. What that means.
Partnership, right? Like you working together, different organizations working together.
Yeah, different denominations.
Specifically, usually in church.
Usually, Catholic, Protestant.
And I was going to ask on that note, how then would a person who's like, okay, if I'm just a person going, I want to do that. I want to serve over at Giving Hands. How do I do that? What do I do?
Well, you can either email Margaret or email me directly. When our website gets
working,
we're actually going to have a direct link to volunteer.
You guys, maybe now.
Right now, it's about just emailing us, and we'll get you plugged in, whether that's an individual or a group. Again, we have lots of groups. I mean, Boy Scouts will come. Like, I can't tell you how many groups come. And then lots of what's really amazing to me is all the businesses.
I know, yeah.
Like they will have, like, you would think that businesses want to do just the money part, and we love money. Don't get me wrong. Love money. That $1, 13 pounds of food. We love the money.
If you guys haven't caught this, they love the money. Money is good.
Right.
Money's food.
Money is good. But what I love is when like a whole group of people we've had people from Pactive, we've had people, like we just have people come over and there's 10 or 15 people that are taking time out of their schedule to come volunteer together.
And what do they do?
Love that. So that's when they're either doing a client-facing shift, where they're walking people through and helping people shop, or they're unloading. That's probably the most, unloading and organizing, keeping that place looking inviting and organized. You know, where it doesn't look like the shipment just rolled off the truck and now we have to sift through all of the pallets of food. No. We have people that do that, and they do that pretty much every morning.
I have one specific question about how maybe people can serve. My dad drives the truck regularly.
Oh, yeah.
Like once a week, I think. I'm not sure how
on
often
Monday
he does.
mornings to do
maybe.
the pickup?
I'm not sure which day. He drives around to like Publix and those kind of things.
That's on Monday morning.
Do y'all need more drivers? Last I heard, like y'all could use some more drivers.
We could use some more drivers. So on a Monday morning is when we're going around to the grocery stores to pick up. And we could definitely use more drivers.
Need a CDL?
You do not, because it doesn't meet that requirement. That truck does not meet that requirement. Right now, our truck is sadly me in the shop.
Okay.
So we're actually, luckily, we're still in cold weather right now.
Yeah.
So we're using people's individual cars to pick up.
Because you got a
we
lot of
hope
refrigerated things.
yeah. But it works out just fine.
Cool.
But we're working on getting that fixed and
So there you
back
go.
to that
If you want
rotation.
to drive, if you've got
if-
some time. And
Just some
there
Monday
you go.
morning time, yeah.
Or if you want to donate a truck.
or if you want to donate.
Or you can fix a truck for free.
That would be awesome.
Who knows?
It is the
needs met.
diesel truck, so that's the problem.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So if we have anybody who wants to help out with that, yeah, we'd love that.
All right.
The other thing is drivers is delivering to our homebound. Our homebound program is currently on a wait list. We serve we do 45 deliveries. 45 homes on Tuesday mornings. Currently on a wait list. And so and again, homebound is a lot of different things. Like homebound might be completely immobilized, or it might be a temporary situation, or it might just be I'm sick I've been sick for a month and I can't get out.
Right.
So it could be temporary or permanent. But we max out at 45 right now.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to do deliveries, that's Tuesday
That's
morning.
because of the number of people who can drive?
True.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
All right.
And we
So
do
the more
homebound,
drivers, the more people.
We do homebound deliveries Tuesday mornings from 10 to 1.
Yeah.
So what I hear is a challenge to Eastridge folks, or whoever watches, but certainly the Eastridge family. Families could participate together.
Absolutely.
Growth groups could participate together.
Ministry,
ministry teams could participate together. So I think it's just a challenge to our people during Mission Month to just...
Or some individuals who have some free, maybe retirees or whoever has free time to drive and deliver food or go pick it up.
That's a really interesting. So I'm a sociologist by trade, so I think people are really fascinating and kind of stupid and crazy all at the same time. I think they're really fun, right?
You know us well.
Right. But I do love that part about the food pantry because what we don't get is like me volunteering because I work, right? What you get is a lot of young people and a lot of retirees.
Right.
Which in and of itself is really beautiful. So you have these like we have a group come over
College
from
kids,
Oxford College, right? And then you have like these old crunchy retired folks and then they're like
That's
having
my dad.
to
He's
interact.
the old guy. Yeah.
It's so wonderful and beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a cool,
because
cool
that's
thing.
whoops. There you go. That's service, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
absolutely that service. And you get to serve with people that, are a little bit different than you, which is just beautiful.
The body of Christ, right? You've
absolutely.
got, the older we get, probably the more conservative these people get. The younger, maybe potentially more liberal college kids, and they're all...
and they're just, and they're out there giving, right? They're out there working. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
Well, tell us about some things that are coming up, maybe that, so we talked about the ways in which you could either sign up to participate or you could sign up to help and serve. I know you guys do some fundraisers.
We do. So we have a big fundraiser coming up. I'm wearing my shirt today. So the Atlanta Community Food Bank does a hunger walk every year. Their hunger walk was actually in Atlanta. It was Sunday, March 9th. So it was just a couple days ago.
We just had it.
Our walk, our local walk is Saturday, March 22nd. So it's coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
We're considered a virtual walk, though it's really happening. But because it's off-site. That's how they do it. So the deadline to sign up and get a t-shirt was actually last Friday. So sadly, you cannot do that anymore. These t-shirts are going to be...
Jacob, can we post this last Wednesday?
Sorry.
That's funny.
Because it had to do with, obviously, the Atlanta walk. But our event will be on March 22nd. Okay. We are going to be walking Cricket Frog Trail. So we've partnered with Newton Trails. Very generously, graciously has allowed us to use that portion of Cricket Frog Trail. We will start at basically where the parking deck is downtown.
First Baptist.
Yeah.
Right
So we're going to park in that parking deck because that's the available parking.
Right.
Yay. And then we're going to start. If we have wouldn't that be wonderful if we fill up that parking deck that day? But the parking deck is available. You park in there and you're going to walk down and that's like the trailhead. So we're going to start right there and then we're going to walk and we'll have a mile marker. So actually a half mile marker. So you can do a mile half mile there, half mile back.
Mhm.
And we'll also have a 5K option as well.
Cool.
So anybody, I call it a hunger walk because I'm not going to run. But if anybody wanted to run, you could definitely run a 5K, not timed or anything, but
Right.
just, because you don't have anything better to do on a Saturday morning, good for you.
If you're
Right,
running a
yeah.
5K, it's timed. You're timing it.
You're timing it.
Every- we all know.
Personally.
Yeah.
You're
So,
one of
but-
those people.
So folks
but yes.
can't sign up for that anymore?
So yes, you can, but you have to sign up.
Okay.
Either email me, text me, whatever, and I'll get you onto the list. But the QR code that we previously had, that expired on Friday.
Okay. Cool. So what is your
so-
email address? Let's get that out there then.
Community
Community.
at covingtonfirst.org.
Okay.
And we can put that on the
We can do that. Yep.
link or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Community
Description.
at covingtonfirst.org.
Correct.
There you
Got
go.
it.
Yep.
It's awesome.
So yeah, we can put you on, or you could just show up on Saturday morning. So you don't have to pre-sign up
22nd.
now. The pre-signing up is really about getting the t-shirt and doing a little bit of, pre-marketing and advertising. Otherwise, just show up on that morning. We do not have a specific amount of a donation that is like the entry fee. $1 buys $13. I
Donate
mean, 13
something.
pounds of food. So
Money's
if
good,
you have a
if
little
that's what I
person
heard.
that wants to donate $1, fantastic.
Yeah.
If you want to do 20, if you want to do 100, whatever you want to do is your entry fee, and we'll sign you up.
Yeah.
So we're doing at this point we're doing the hand-to-hand sign up. We take
Trey
check.
will pay thousands
cash.
of dollars just to run a 5K.
Just to run a 5K.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
man,
that.
sign me up. Don't sign me up. Maybe this 22nd. Maybe I'll be there. Well, look, thank
for
you so
walking,
much.
just walk,
Yeah,
just
we'll
walk
walk,
it.
yeah. A
But
lot of
again,
good
the
company.
idea is to get it out
Just
there
raising
and
money.
to support our neighbors that are in need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today. But thank you for what you do. Thank you
Mhm.
for what the food pantry does, and Margaret McDonald and the whole team. We're grateful for First United Methodist for spearheading this and kind of overseeing this for so many
Mhm.
years. I'd like just thanks because I know this is a great need in our community, and you
Yeah.
guys
It
are being
is.
the hands and feet.
It
And we
is.
want to join you and continue to partner with you. Eastridge, part of your giving dollars goes towards this ministry, and
Yep.
we want to support it, and not
And we
just
thank
with
you for that.
finances, but
We thank you for that.
but we want
Yeah.
to be there, boots on the ground too.
That's
so.
right. That's right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. See you.
Bye.
I love everything she shared. I
Mhm.
think that was so encouraging, and it's so, helpful, I think, for us to just hear there's, like you said, there's all these wonderful ways that right now we can be serving in our community. We can be that disco ball, so to
Mhm.
speak, right? We can be shining the light of Christ, just as he's called us to, right here in Covington, Georgia.
Right.
Because again, I hope people are hearing this. I hope if you're listening to this or watching, you're understanding that we are called to do missions wherever we are, whatever context God's given us, and yeah, of course, of other places in the
Mhm.
world, but right here in Covington, right here in Newton County, a place like Giving Hands Food Pantry, that's a great place to start if you're looking for somewhere to serve. So I would encourage anybody you're looking for somewhere to serve or to give to.
Mhm.
That's a great place to begin right there. Okay, Giving Hands Food Pantry, and over the next few weeks, we're going to keep talking about both on Sundays and in our after church
Yeah.
podcast other opportunities as well
Yeah.
to give and to serve.
And we're encouraging our Eastridge members and guests to give to
Right.
the church, which all of the money that's given to the church will go into these ministries.
Straight, yeah.
And in this one, Hosanna said $1 equals 13 pounds of food.
That is amazing.
So rather than buying a couple of
Yeah.
cans of soup and sending it over there,
Yeah.
man, if you give to the church, we will give those funds. We give thousands of dollars to
Yeah.
Giving Hands every year, and that goes to $1 goes to 13 pounds of food.
I think we're going to post a little picture of that, like what
I hope so,
13
yeah.
pounds of food looks like. So on that note, just so it's very clear, obviously we still have our normal offerings, like that happens on Sundays. So a lot of you guys give online. So if you go to Eastridge.Church/give, like to give online, there's a little drop down menu, and you can give to like our tithes and offerings, kind of the normal giving to Eastridge. That goes to the Eastridge ministry and what we're doing here. But you can also give to missions. You can select missions, and if you give to missions, as you're saying, Trey, that money goes directly to Giving Hands. It goes to all our other missions partners. So just so that's clear, there's kind of two different lines there that you can give to.
Yep. And if you're here on Sunday, you can drop checks or cash into the buckets.
We have buckets
these,
around.
the
Yep.
mission buckets all around the campus, or you can put something in the offering plate if you put either missions in the memo line of the check,
Yeah.
or if you put it in an envelope and write missions on it.
Yeah.
So it is. We want to be real clear. This whatever gift
Can
you
we
give.
add those links in as well, Jake? Cool.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll have the links in these videos, podcasts, all that, and just listen. Again, this is simply to man, we want to lift up the glory of Jesus in everything that we do, and so that's the reason we give to these missions partners, so that His name, His glory goes wherever He calls us to go, and wherever our giving goes as well. So
Yeah. Cool.
hopefully that's a great encouragement and challenge to all of us.
It is, man. Thanks. Y'all be a disco ball. See you next week.
See you later. Be a disco ball, baby.